Joe Biden is eating his words over Brexit as powerful Boris Johnson is putting him to shame when it comes to the two countries' responses to the Ukraine crisis, an expert has claimed. Former advisor to Margaret Thatcher, Niall Gardner, claimed that officials in the Biden administration are acknowledging that Brexit is really making a difference to our ability to stand up to Putin, despite their deeply anti-Brexit leanings. He also hit out at Joe Biden for being a huge disappointment as US president, contrasting him with Mr. Johnson, who he described as a very powerful, effective leader. The expert claimed that Mr. Biden would never go to Kyiv, unlike Mr. Johnson, who took a trip to the war-torn city last month. The UK has been widely praised for its response to Ukraine, with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky describing Mr. Johnson as an example. He said, "Britain is definitely on our side. It is not performing a balancing act. Britain sees no alternative for the way out of the situation. Britain wants Ukraine to win and Russia to lose." The UK, alongside NATO allies, has imposed a wide-ranging package of sanctions on Russia, has begun phasing out Russian energy and has been supplying Ukraine with weapons. Speaking to The Economist, he added, "Johnson is a leader who is helping more. The leaders of countries react according to how their constituents act. In this case, Johnson is an example." Speaking to Express.co.uk, Mr. Gardner said, "Even within the Biden administration, which is quite deeply anti-Brexit, officials are acknowledging that Brexit is really making a difference and that Britain is doing an outstanding job on the Ukraine front." So much so that Boris Johnson today looks more like the leader of the free world than Joe Biden. And it is striking how here in Washington that within the sort of anti-Brexit Biden establishment that they are starting to eat their words on Brexit and acknowledge that Britain really is playing a leading role. Frankly, Boris Johnson is putting Joe Biden to shame with his leadership on this. Joe Biden would never go to Kyiv, he wouldn't take the risk. But Boris Johnson did it. So I do think the British Prime Minister deserves a lot of credit. Speaking about Mr. Johnson's leadership style, Mr. Gardner said that the Prime Minister is in his element. He said, "This is when Boris is at his best, at a moment of crisis." This is the PM in his element. And I think it is being widely acknowledged across the rest of the world, that Boris Johnson is a very powerful, effective leader. I think that Joe Biden has been a huge disappointment as US president, and Biden doesn't look like the leader of the free world.